Thanks everyone for joining us for the gift of a lifetime. We're super excited to have everyone here today. I think we'll first start by just having a round robin of introductions. So let's get going with that. I am Dr. Steve Weinrock. That's my little ladybug a few months back on my lap. She's my co-pilot, my North Star, and helps guide everything that I do. I am the Chief Veterinary Officer at Trupanion, where we provide quality medical insurance for cats and dogs. I'm also the founder of a charity called Mighty Vet, where we help to bridge the gap between what veterinarians and team members like me do in what we learned in school and the realities of day-to-day practice across veterinary medicine. I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, Dr. Casey, and hopefully you can do the same.
Hi, everyone. I'm Casey Barton-Baravesh. I'm a veterinarian and a disease detective at the CDC. I serve as the director of our One Health office.
And I can jump in. I don't know if we lost Casey, but I'm Matt Nelson, and this is my dog, Doug. I run the WeRateDogs and Thoughts of Dogs social handles. Doug is actually the CEO of WeRateDogs. I'll do most of his translating today, and we'll see how long he can stay on the camera. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah, so I'll go back to Casey for just 1 second as we are figuring out the technical difficulties. But Casey's got a whole bunch of cool letters behind her name. And is in charge of One Health across the U.S., which is pretty amazing. It's what our pets do for us, what we do for them. Delves into everything from disease control to protecting to protecting all of us. So hopefully we get Casey back soon as we go through this. But we'll jump right in and dig into some cool information, and later on we'll have a live Q&A and some cool chat. This that you see here is called the stop treatment threshold, and a stop treatment threshold is basically the amount of money where somebody, some pet lover, someone with a pet that means everything to them and their family, has to tap out and has to say to a veterinarian like me, we can't do this anymore, doc. It's just we can't afford this. And that puts us in a position where it's not a great outcome for the pet or the pet owner or for the veterinarian, because pets need to suffer in silence if we can't continue treating whatever their condition is. Or alternatively, it might lead to a pet parent saying to a veterinarian, my pet's suffering, we can't go further anymore, and we have to call it a day, meaning we have to do what we call an economic euthanasia. And that's something that that nobody likes and nobody is for. So what this chart is showing is a study that was a little while back that shows the average stop treatment threshold has been the same for about a decade, and it's been between $1,400 and $1,700. I have no indications at all that this has changed anytime in the recent past or will in the near future. So that's really challenging. An interesting statistic with Trupanion data is that Trupanion paid over 216,000 veterinary bills in excess of $1,400. So if we think about what that means, it means that there's been nearly 250,000 pets that otherwise might have been euthanized due to challenges with treatment costs and the costs of care. And people often say, we can all hold the mirror up to ourselves and say, not me. I love my pet, my pet's family. I'd do anything for pet. And I know we all feel this way, and I know we all mean it. But this relates to every single one of us. 75% of Americans working full-time live paycheck to paycheck. It's just a fact. 74% of pet owners report not being able to afford sick care, with middle-class participants as likely to cite financial barriers as lower-income participants. And 59% of pet owners in the highest income bracket report that they didn't pursue sick care for their pet for financial reasons. So even if you have it, it can be problematic to go ahead and make it happen. So difficulty budgeting for the unexpected really decreases access to care. That's what this is all about, and we can fix that. So more than 60% of Americans wouldn't be able to cover an unexpected cost of $500 to $1,000 for something that's going on with their pet. But 95% of Americans have a bank account and 79% of Americans have a credit card. If we could just jump to the next slide, please. The vast majority of pet parents rely on credit to pay their veterinary bills, but credit interest simply compounds the problem, and that is difficult. Hopefully we can jump to the access to care slide. I'll keep going while we get that figured out on the back end. But since 2010, Trupanion's paid 614,000 single claims in excess of that $500. So we just said 60% of Americans wouldn't be able to cover between 500 and 1,000 in unexpected medical expenses. That's a big deal. We're designed to pay the hospital bill at the time of checkout, and that goes a long way towards eliminating the need for credit or increasing debt. Even though if we swipe a credit card or we go into debt or we try some sort of a payment plan, we can take care of the immediate problem. We can help our pet. But if it really compounds the problem in the long run, that makes it really, really challenging for most American families to actually recover from that when you start to think about credit card interest and the fact that you couldn't afford it in the first place. So again, it's all about access to care. So what's our why? And I think there must be some technical difficulties here, or perhaps it's just on my screen. There you go. So that was the last. There we go. We're all caught up to what's our why. So we exist to help responsible, loving pet owners budget and care for their pets for life. We aim to provide a path to bring pets to their veterinarians without financial barriers to care. Because again, budgeting for the unexpected is really, really difficult. And Trupanion's our response. And there's many responses here, and we'll go through them. We'll go through them all today. This is not for everybody. But we're going to talk about that and make sure that everyone has the resources that they need to make decisions that are appropriate for their own families. So again, we aim to pay the bill for our members in real time, 24/7, 365. And to date, another fun fact: we've paid over $1.7 billion in veterinary bills for our members, which is pretty cool. So more Trupanion pets equals improved access to care, and that just benefits the entire ecosystem. This is all about access to care, and any way we can increase access to care, improve that access to care, it's simply a win for everybody. So pretty cool. There are, we can jump to the next slide. There are 15 million WeRateDog followers on social media. So well done, Matt. People love what you're doing there, and it's pretty fantastic. I want everyone to imagine if none of them had barriers to care, if all of them could go to the vets as frequently as they needed to. Early on, early detection leads to early treatment and hopefully early cure. So if we eliminate those barriers to care for these 15 million, just this one place alone, it's massive. So imagine they all had Trupanion, and then imagine we paid the bill for them. We could do it in real time. They didn't have to go into debt. They didn't have to hope for reimbursement. We could just pay for them before they even left the hospital. That's a win all around. Again, people say to me every day, or said to me every day when I was in practice, I think we're gonna gamble. We'll hold on this slide for just a couple of minutes. They'll say, we think it's worth it. It's unlikely. I've had healthy pets before. It's not going to happen to me. So 1 in 4 pets will have cancer over their lifetime. It's a fact. When they get to the age of 10, 1 in 2 will develop cancer. That is massive. That's not a gamble that I want to take. Now, the average cost to treat cancer over a pet's lifetime, and this is based on Trupanion data, what we actually pay in bills for pets with cancer that we can help, $12,350 on average. That's average. We pay bills that are over six figures. So that is a life and death decision if you have to worry about the finances and if those finances get in the way. And that's a huge challenge. So again, remember 6 in 10 pet parents can't afford between $500 and $1,000 for a bill, and they definitely wouldn't be able to afford that care. I want to go back, if we can, on the back end, just for 1 second to the access to care slide. And if we can't do it, no worries. But it's the slide with the dogs that are looking at us, maybe two or three back. And then we'll jump right back to this. Apologies for going out of order. But when I chose this image, I did so with intent because it spoke to me. Our pets cannot speak for themselves. When we decide to have a pet join our pack, and that's what it is, it's a pack. We become their family. They become the most important thing to us, and we become the most important thing to them. In my view, we take on a responsibility. They can't speak, so we need to speak for them. And what kills me every single day, and it has since before I was a veterinarian, is knowing that we can do something, but our hands are bound. We can do something, but there is a cost to care. MRIs aren't free. CTs aren't free. Team members aren't free. Training's not free. So me, and our pets, these guys here, when they're looking at me like this, it's a reminder to myself, I need to speak for them. When we get to that $1,400 rate, this is what I'm thinking of and saying, oh man, we got to figure this out. We need to be proactive with these things, not reactive. So sorry for the backwards look here, but I just wanted to talk through that, what my why is to that. So let's go back to the last slide that we were on, and then we'll make a quick handover to Matt to talk about why we decided to partner. But again, this is really tragic. It's preventable. And Matt, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you guys have done with WeRateDogs. You know, I think your story really hits me right in my heart. You know, from the first time we talked, you doing this just to bring more smiles to the world is so important. And coming at it from different angles where we can't always be proactive. Sometimes we need to do things other ways. But could you talk us through that and give us a little bit of insight?
Of course. Yeah. So WeRateDogs, I started it in November of 2015. I started it just to make people laugh. If anyone watching remembers those early tweets, the goal was absolutely laughs, not even smiles, just try to get a humorous reaction. And it quickly turned into wholesome. And then recently we've kind of gone really into the crowdfunding space. So again, so WeRateDogs, people send in photos and videos of their dogs, and we give them a caption and a rating out of 10, but they always get above 10 out of 10 because every dog is better than perfect. I think we all know that. But in 2016, once we had a reasonable following, we started getting requests to share GoFundMes from members of our audience who couldn't afford their dog's medical bills. So in 2016, we featured our very first one. It was for a senior pug who needed a wheelchair. That was very comfortable for me to share because we had featured that family of dogs in the past. They actually always dressed up for the holidays. So like I would feature them on Christmas and like Easter, like they would dress up for every holiday. So my audience knew this dog as well. So it was very easy to make that ask to the audience. And we raised the $700 for that doggy wheelchair in under an hour. So it was clear with that first post that our audience was waiting for an opportunity to help and that they were passionate and empathetic to these type of stories. So with the first Friday of 2017, we started featuring a GoFundMe every single Friday. And that consistency, as well as the gamification, for better or worse, that GoFundMe uses, proved very successful. We've never featured a dog who did not hit their goal, whether that be $500 or $20,000. We've raised over $2 million now for over 300 different individual GoFundMes. And while that is something that we're very proud of, and the audience has clearly, like everyone that has ever donated to those campaigns should pat themselves on the back because it is phenomenal what we're able to do every Friday. It pales in comparison to what we are sent. In the beginning of this year, we opened up a portal for people to submit their GoFundMes instead of just DMing us their stories and including their GoFundMe link. We made a portal so they could fill out all the information. They could include the bills. It made it easier for us to vet those GoFundMes and like validate them and choose the best one. You can go back to the previous slide. But it made that easier, but it also allowed us to collect a bunch of data and truly understand what the need overall is. Currently, we're able to feature 3 GoFundMes a week, one that the audience funds, actually 2 that the audience funds, but one that is specific to Instagram. And then thanks to our partnership with Trupanion, we're actually able to fund a 3rd one ourselves on social every Friday. But for every 3 that we feature, there are on average 239 that we cannot every single week. And again, once we started collecting this data just earlier this year, so it's only been 10, 11 months, we've been sent over 4,000 GoFundMes, and the total requested within those GoFundMes is over $25 million. So while it's, again, incredible what the audience is able to do, there's a much bigger need. And this has really taken a toll. Like, I'm very conscious of the audience's emotional fatigue. My account was not built to feature a hurt dog every single day nonstop. That's not why people follow the account. They follow it to smile. And really, we're optimizing it with the Friday features, and to go more than that, I think would have a negative effect on the entire community. So we're limited in what we can feature. And so we started looking for broader solutions that we can direct our audience towards. And Trupanion is one of those solutions. So starting in January, we partnered with them to try to get the word out about pet medical insurance. And we try to do so in a variety of different ways. Obviously, as Steve mentioned, we have a lot of followers and a lot of dog owners, dog caretakers within that audience. And we wanted to reach all of them. And since our thing is to tell stories of individual dogs, we did the same thing with our partnered posts with Trupanion. The dog you see on this slide, his name is Troubadour. He is actually a medical alert dog for his human. And he, about a year and a half ago, I believe, had a liver tumor that his owner said without having Trupanion, she would have had to make very difficult decisions regarding his care due to finances. But because of Trupanion, she could say, she can tell Troubadour that he's taken care of, and then he can proceed with, and that vets could proceed with any care that he required, which saved his life. And now he can still be that medical alert dog for her. So that's just one of we call them Trupanion tales that we told this year. And we think that raised some pretty valuable awareness for what Trupanion and pet insurance in general can do. We've also done broader, larger campaigns like Ears to Vets, which was a veterinary mental health campaign. If you can imagine that not being able to care for a pet because the owner doesn't have the finances does take a toll on the vet that is trained to perform that care as well. And that was a big part of our Ears to Vets campaign. People sent in videos and pictures of their dog's ears just to show that they were listening to their veterinarian, not only their medical advice, but their mental health struggles as well. So we've tried to fit Trupanion in where they're applicable, which is really everywhere within this ecosystem. And our goal is to continue to do that to make our entire audience aware of medical insurance for the life of your pet, because at the end of the day, it saves, from a selfish perspective, I have to go through less GoFundMes about dogs in need. And our community is just better equipped. Having insurance for the life of your pet is an added weapon in your arsenal of overall pet care. So that's why we're so passionate about it. I'm sure some of our audience is like, oh my God, enough with the Trupanion, but hopefully after listening to this and seeing some of our larger videos on it, you understand why we're so passionate. But with that, I will hand it over to Dr. Casey to talk about One Health and how One Health kind of plays a role in everything we've talked about.
Sure. So pets are an important example of One Health. We all know how closely connected people and pets are in our shared environments, whether it's the household or outside at a dog park, and those types of close interactions that we can have. That's what One Health is all about. Pets provide us with companionship, entertainment, and comfort, and those have really important effects on our physical and mental well being, like we've been hearing about today. And we know that keeping our pets healthy helps to keep us healthy and happy as well. So, one way CDC works to keep people and pets healthy is through our Healthy Pets, Healthy People program, which you can find at the website shown here, cdc.gov/healthypets. And it's a great resource to get information on keeping people and pets healthy. You can search by type of pet, whether they're covered in fur, feathers, or scales, as well as other types of animals too. And you can learn how pets can help people stay healthy. You can get tips on preparing for your pets during an emergency, like a weather event or natural disaster, and that's really important as well. And you can learn about diseases that can spread between people and pets called zoonoses. And we also share information on the latest outbreaks linked to interactions with animals or animal products. But what's really important here, and why we put so much energy into our Healthy Pets, Healthy People program, is that pets provide us with many physical and mental health benefits. Some studies suggest they can even help people live longer. They increase opportunities to exercise, to get you and your family outside and to socialize. I even met my husband at a dog park. They can improve cognitive function in older adults. Regular walking or playing with pets has been shown to decrease blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and triglyceride levels in people. Pets have importantly helped to manage loneliness and depression by giving us companionship. And we've seen this especially during the pandemic. They can help alleviate symptoms of anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder. And some companion animals are so good at it that it becomes their official job as a service or therapy animal. Kids can learn a lot from having a pet. I know my two daughters have, and that includes how to responsibly care for another living being, as well as the differences between animals there. And pets have truly become part of our family units, and it's important that we take care of their health so they can help ours, as you can hear my dog barking in the background. Sorry about that. But over 60% of households in the US have one or more pets. Over 11 million households got a new pet during the pandemic, and that includes in my house, we brought several in, and dogs and cats are a big part of that. So I just want to really emphasize that close connection between the health of people and animals in our shared environments, and keeping our pets healthy can help keep people healthy too. Back over to you, Steve.
Thanks, Dr. Casey. Matt, I think your slide was really interesting with Troubadour, and I wasn't aware of that. But what a perfect example of what this panel is doing together. So CDC, One Health, Department of Health, WeRateDogs, Trupanion. This is a story of how one dog looking out for their human paid back the favor by looking out for their dog. Both of them will likely live longer, and that is One Health, by using tools like we're talking about today, like proactively insuring, making sure we send pets to their veterinarian, so vets like myself and Dr. Casey can have the chains taken off of us and make sure we do what we were trained to do and what we're passionate about doing, what we dreamed about doing when we were little kids, because we didn't dream of being financial advisors. We just want to do the best. There's total alignment between us and pet parents if we don't have to worry about barriers like costs of care. So what a great example. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
We may be having a little bit of technical difficulty with Facebook. We'll definitely get it sorted, so it'll be all good. No worries. This is recorded. But luckily, we had some questions that came into us as people were registering and making sure they had a calendar invite set so they could join us live. The first question that I have here is, and I think it's really, really important. Isn't insurance only for the rich? What a great question. And I want to reiterate, I think I said it before anyway, is we're not something for everyone, but we are everything to someone. And I think that's really, really important to think about. So we're not gonna cure everything that's wrong in the world, but if we do this correctly together, we can really, really help alleviate all of the problems that we talked about, like the stop treatment threshold, other barriers to care, the fact that we have bank accounts. At least 95% of us have bank accounts. 79% of us have credit cards. There's a 75% of us that work full-time jobs and still live paycheck to paycheck. So all of those things can be helped. Yeah, just really important to remember. And another figure from surveys we've done with thousands and thousands and thousands of pet parents that are Trupanion members. More than 1 in 3 of our Trupanion members have a total combined income of less than $79,000 for their entire family. So this absolutely, to answer that question, no, it's not a product for the rich. It's we're trying to be proactive and help people budget for something that's unexpected. And that's really, really difficult. So in the best situation of all worlds, you'll be protected. You'll have a safety net. Nothing will ever go wrong with your pet. And I can't think of any better blessing to wish for anybody. It's not a bad thing. I also don't hope my house burns down to claim insurance. I just feel really comfortable knowing that I've taken that step. Even more important for my family than for an inanimate object. So great question wherever that came from, and thank you. Matt and Casey, why don't we just chat amongst ourselves for a little bit? You guys have any thoughts or things you guys want to talk about?
Well, just real quick, I apologize that Doug has left us. We'll see if he comes back at any point. I'll do my best, maybe break out the treats. But no, that is I think that just making everyone aware that this is a tool that exists is very important from a WeRateDogs perspective. Like, I was astonished. We did at the beginning of our partnership, we did an Instagram Q&A essentially that was like, did you know that this was a thing? And I want to say it was less than half of our audience knew that medical insurance for the life of their pet was a thing that they could get. So yeah, for us, it's to just get the word out. And so when we see the comments about cost, it's really just to emphasize that it's the whole scale of, or it's the we want to make sure that everyone knows that there's a spectrum of healthcare available, essentially, and just that it exists at all is kind of is our jumping off point for the partnership.
Yeah.
And keeping pets healthy can help keep people healthy. Every pet should receive veterinary care, and taking your pet to the veterinarian regularly is a really important part of keeping it healthy. Doing those routine health checkups, getting medication to prevent fleas and ticks or parasites is really important, because pets can sometimes carry germs even if they seem happy and healthy, and those can spread to people, including children. So that routine veterinary care is really helpful for protecting your whole family's health.
That's great, thanks. And I'll add to that too. It's a good thought. We talk about access to care here, and that's hugely important to everyone listening, everyone on this panel, period. No one wants to say, I don't have access to care. That's a terrible feeling. But there's a few different things that we think about in the veterinary profession. We think about the standard of care. We think about gold standard care, and we think about the spectrum of care, which is everything in between. So the standard of care is just, the minimum requirements, the minimum, if a dog comes in and the dog's in absolute pain and was hit by a car, you need to provide pain relief. You need to do that. That's the minimum standard of care. Now, no one wants to say, I got the minimum. And then there's a gold standard of care. And the gold standard is the opposite end of that spectrum. It's everything we've ever learned in a textbook. And as seasoned veterinarians, we know that, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. We don't need to do an MRI to find out it's a penguin. But there are times where we want to do that. I don't magically know what's going on inside of a dog. I may need to do an ultrasound. And if I'm not doing that ultrasound or that X-ray, then we're going to degrade the ability to care a little bit. But the spectrum of care allows us to use our brains, use our clinical knowledge and judgment on our continuing education and what we've seen and read, what our colleagues have seen to know, I don't need to do all of this. I can do this. Bottom line is, if cost is out of the way, you can have a great conversation with your veterinarian, with your family veterinarian who you entrust with the care of your family pet, and you cannot worry about that. You can just say, what would you do for your pet? And they can say, this is your family, what would you do? And you can work on a treatment plan together wherever on that spectrum of care it goes. Sorry, Mike.
Just knowing my audience and over the last six years or so, how much they care about their pets and how much a part of their family they are, we wanted to make the gold standard of care we wanted to make them aware of that for sure.
Yeah, it's best if you have the choice as a pet parent, as part of the pack, if that is right for your family, without the lens of cost in the way. So if we can help that, if you want to do gold standard care, you do that, and we got your back. If you want to do more conservative treatments, you do that, and we got your back. But the choice should be yours and nobody else's, and that's a big part of this.
We also have a lot of members of our audience that are like, oh my God, look at the dog I just got. So I think we have a question that it pertains to that of like, I'm a new pet parent. How much is cost of care for a dog? And I think this is very generally speaking, to be financially stable enough to like be a responsible pet parent is definitely something you should think about.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great question. It's a bit of a loaded question. How much is the cost of care? How much is the expected cost of care is one topic, and how much is the unexpected cost of care is a different topic. So if you're talking about the expected, if you bring a new puppy into me or Dr. Casey, if we're in general practice, you bring an 8-week-old puppy to us, both of us would be able to very quickly tell you what the expected costs of care are for this year, for next year, for the year after, et cetera, because we can predict what the costs are on a monthly basis of flea, heartworm, tick medications, preventatives, et cetera, vaccines that'll prevent diseases that Dr. Casey talked about, zoonoses that, we protect pets from rabies because rabies is a killer for humans. That's a big issue. We protect pets from roundworms because roundworms can make our children blind, right? That's a big issue. These are public health issues. Again, One Health issues and your family's issues. So we can predict all of those from the minute you walk into the clinic with your puppy or kitten. At 8 weeks, you're going to need this vaccine. At 12 weeks, this. At 16 weeks, this. Let's talk about a microchip in case your pet gets lost. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of spays or neuters. We can talk to you about those and have some great dialogue, and you do what's right for your family. We can talk about all of those things, and I can give you the exact breakdown of costs, what you need to save, what you need to budget, should you be on some sort of a plan for those sorts of things where you break down those costs and spread them out over time. That's very, very different from the topic of what is the unexpected cost of care. Because I don't know if you're talking about cancer, if and when your pet will have that. Remember, 1 out of 2 will have it by the time they're age 10, and 1 out of 4 in the entire population. So what are the costs of that going to be? Is it skin cancer? Is it lung cancer? Is it lymphoma? Is it something, pancreatic cancer? What do you want to do as a pet parent about that? Or did your pet tear their cruciate ligament, their ACL as we call it in human terms, or CCL as we call it in pet terms? What if your pet has chronic allergies or chronic arthritis, diabetes, these things that we see every single day in practice? What is the cost of those, and when is it going to happen? That's the problem we're here to solve. We're trying to help people budget for the unexpected because it's not possible to do on your own. If you put $50 in a bank account every single month for the next, let's call it 12 months, that's, if my math is right, that's $600. If you blow a cruciate on day 2, $600 is going to get you nowhere. It's going to cost you $1,800 just to have the surgical repair, forget the rehab, and then there's a 50% chance the other leg's going to blow too, and you're going to have this again. Then what if your pet gets cancer? There's a big worry at the beginning of the pandemic. Is COVID going to affect pets? And we've done a whole bunch of webinars on that in our webinar series in the COVID Council. But you don't know what's coming, and that's, I don't know if I'm going to crash my car. My car is not my family member, but I protect my car. I'm protecting what I love here. So hopefully that answers the question on how much these things cost. And then we've also got another question on How does pet insurance actually increase my pet's health? I can take first stab at that and hear what everyone else has to say as well. Um, but Trupanion insured pets visit their veterinarians more frequently. Their veterinarians' hands are untied, so they receive more care. If they visit more frequently and they receive more care, we find things more quickly. We treat them when they're treatable, and pets live longer. So that's a fact. We've done the studies. Trupanion insured pets live longer.
I'll jump in there just really quick and say that that's the case with Doug as a senior dog. Like anything that I think could maybe be an issue, I have a lot of comfort in taking him to the vet and making sure that that isn't a bigger problem because he's insured. It makes it an easier decision for sure. So I can attest to that.
Fantastic. What does pet insurance cover? So I like to consider ourselves quality medical insurance for pets. It seems like it's semantics and may sound funny to some people, but I'll talk about what we cover. We cover all accidents and illnesses that are unexpected. We cover the diagnostics and the treatment that go along with them. It's one simple plan. There's no caps, not yearly, not monthly, not over the lifetime. Um, anything that's unexpected that we'll be treating in a hospital, things we don't cover. We don't cover things that we would just add frictional costs to. You can budget for wellness on your own. You can budget for wellness with your veterinarian at the local level. Decide what's right for you. We don't cover those sorts of things. If your pet was hit by a car and you don't have Trupanion, much like if you crash your car and you don't have car insurance, you can't call up and say, hey, I want this fixed. I want this car fixed, or I want this cancer treated. So we don't cover things that happened before you were a member. Hopefully it makes that clear, and hopefully that gives you a good example of the things that we do cover. But the things I see day to day in veterinary practice, or I did for a decade while I was in general practice with my own hospitals, everything that we do there that I have to have hard conversations with people about, we look out for them and get your back. Can I only use certain veterinarians with Trupanion? No, Trupanion, any veterinarian, anywhere. We're all across North America now. Any veterinary hospital you want to use, our goal is to pay the bill for you, so you don't have to. Versus you paying upfront. That's really hard to pay upfront if you don't have it, and you don't want to worsen the credit problem if you even can. So the ability for us to just pay the bill for our members is very, very unique anywhere. Period. So yes, you can use any veterinarian across North America. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got here. I have a savings account already. How much should I have for my pet? So again, if you think about what we talked about before with savings accounts and credit cards, 95% of people in the US alone have savings accounts, but there's still that stop treatment threshold of $1,400. That tells me it's not working. So even if, using my example from before, you put $50 away or $100 away or $200 away for a month, you don't know when something's going to happen. You don't know what it's going to be, and you don't want to be left in a position where you've got, call it $1,000, call it $1,400, where you have to turn off the taps when your best friend needs you the most.
Or send us a GoFundMe. We don't want that to be your only solution. And I talked about earlier, like the odds that we're going to be able to feature your GoFundMe are slim, and we'd love to, but there's just so much out there. So we want you to be prepared without the kind of the fail safe of maybe you'll get posted on our account.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to interrupt, Steve. You can continue.
No, that's perfect. I mean, they're all great questions, and it's a really difficult problem that the three of us are trying to solve with many others. We've got a lot of people haven't heard about medical insurance, and the elephant in the room is insurance, right? It tends to be a dirty word. Working together on things like this and educating people changes that. In practice every day, I wish people would come in and not hesitate to just do what they needed to do, because I knew we were aligned. I knew they were thinking they love their pets like I love my pets. We both love our family. There's perfect alignment right from the get-go. But when we start talking about what we may consider eroding care because of costs, that's really, really challenging. Nobody wants to do that. We don't want to do that as vets. We don't want to do that as pet parents. We don't want that for our family members and our kids. So I think this is us joining together like this is a great solution, and can only have positive outcomes. Casey, who do you got there? I see an ear or a tail or there. Oh, nice.
This is Lady. She's been barking and jumping on me the whole webinar.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing. And is Doug still there with you, or has he gotten tired of you?
Doug had very, very important CEO things to do. I think it was an emergency email or something, so he's handling that behind the scenes, which allows me to continue with the webinar. So,
and my little lady would be on my lap. So she was in our Ears to Vets series that we did. I hope everyone can check that out. Hashtag Ears to Vets. Pretty neat. So Bug is, Bug's my wife's a vet too. Bug's a little, she was a little baby that I got at 6 weeks old. Somebody came into my clinic and decided that, they, for whatever reasons, they weren't going to keep her and asked.
What did they think? What breed did they think she was?
They thought she was a Dachshund.
Which clearly, I think usually clearly she is not.
And I don't know if you can go back to that intro picture that introduces us all, but they thought she was a Dachshund. They got her on Craigslist as a Dachshund, and she had a little bit of a pity look to her, and they decided because of that they wanted her life to be ended. They wanted her to be put down. Of course, I said absolutely not, and they relinquished her. I'm a foster failure, like many people out there, and Bug became my little baby and lived to 14. So she always did these. She'd be with me here, but I'm thinking of her. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it even happens to us as veterinarians. The two vets, myself and my wife, Bug got cancer. And she was 14 years old. Now, the good news is, before I tear up here, the good news is I didn't hesitate once for anything. Didn't matter if it was an MRI or a CT or targeted therapy or cancer treatments, you name it. That never had to cross my mind. We did the right thing by her the entire way, to the best of our abilities as veterinarians, making our own decisions without our veterinary hats on, as family members as well. And I think Bug would be proud. But it happens to the best of us. And I think, if it sounds like any of us, myself specifically, is up here preaching, it's because I believe in this. It's because I think that the world is going to be better if we can figure out these solutions for our best friends proactively.
Steve, what's the difference between a wellness plan and pet insurance? Just because I see that from our audience a lot. They find, partially because we've made them aware of these options, they find something that isn't, that could be valuable, but isn't the full, again, like you mentioned, the gold standard of care. So maybe talk a little bit about the difference between someone who finds a wellness plan and pet insurance.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Good question. A wellness plan is a prepackaged plan of preventative care items. Say that 10 times fast. And that's what we were talking about. What Casey and I were talking about before is you can predict the things that you're going to need. If you can predict something, you can budget for it, meaning you don't have to lay out all those costs all at once. So in practice, if someone comes up to me and says, hey, set my expectations, Dr. Steve, what am I going to need for Fido? Just got it 8 weeks. I want to be the best pet parent in the world. I love this pet more than anything. Then I can say, cool, here are the vaccines that we're going to discuss, and here's why. You can choose this or you can choose this. I'm educating you. I'm providing you this knowledge, and you can push back. You can say whatever you need to say, and we're going to make the right decision for your family together. Here's, if your pet ever gets lost, we should talk about a microchip. You don't want to be reactive with that. You don't want to be missing your pet for 2 years. Not cool. Here's the spays, neuters. Here are the costs of all of those. Now, if you don't want to pay all of these thousands of dollars or however much up front, we can break them down over the year. What wellness plans do at the local hospital level is they can build loyalty to the hospitals because you're getting a great deal and they're helping you budget and educating you appropriately. So it's great for the veterinary teams, and it's great for the pet parent who trusts that their family veterinarian. So they can budget for those along the way. But those things don't cover the unexpected. So while they'll cover your preventative vaccines or maybe your spay or neuter or routine dental cleanings, like we have in the human space, we go for our routine scale and polish. All those things are dealt with by wellness plans. But Trupanion covers all the other things. My pet stepped on some glass and is bleeding. My pet vomited after eating some grass. My pet has arthritis, allergies,
The most
disease.
common ones that we see through our GoFundMe portal are that cruciate ligament, the ACL in humans, for sure. That one is super prevalent. It happens at the dog park. It happens when you throw your dog a ball and they land awkwardly. Like, that one's super prevalent. And then we have the IVDDs in certain breeds. And then cancer in Goldens is one that we see a lot. And then hip ICAR is like, we have to try to not disproportionately feature those because you would think that it's happening all the time. And it is, but like, there's just so much coming into our GoFundMe portal that is like, my dog was hit by a car. And that, I think, we usually pair with general education materials on how not to have that happen. But for sure, like cruciate ligament and hit by a car, which can obviously cause a whole host of issues, are what we see very frequently through our portal. I'm sure Trupanion has the data on what is actually the most common, but that amongst our audience is up there.
Tons. Like I think I said before, we've already paid out 1.7 billion plus in bills for our members. That's a big deal. A lot of them are smaller ticket items too. So we talk about the cruciates and the hit by cars, and it's easy for people to think, I don't know what that is. Never happened to me. That's fantastic, but every pet has had a bout of vomiting or diarrhea or something funny going on with the pee. These are things we see every single day. The majority of cases in practice are going to be, ain't doing right. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to need to figure that out. I don't know. Much like if something's not right with yourself, we can even talk about it. And sometimes we're like, I need to go to the doctor. I've got to figure this out. And as much as we don't like having a blood test, you do it because it's your life on the line. Or we hope that you do it anyway, and we take care of ourselves because our pets need us to take care of ourselves. Again, One Health. Let's take care of ourselves if for nothing else. So because our pets are relying on us and because we love them.
I see a question here about how do pets make us healthy and what can we do to make sure we give back. So pets are an important part of our lives. They provide us with companionship. They can get us outdoors. They can get us moving, help us exercise, help prevent feelings of depression, our anxiety, our loneliness. And there's a number of scientific studies out there that show the impact on pets and reducing blood pressure and those types of things as well. So just a number of ways that pets can really help make us healthier and happier. It's so rewarding to have a pet. We have many pets that we love in my house, and it's just such a fantastic opportunity to be able to take care of these amazing creatures that are part of the family and to help give back. That's, doing some of the basic care to keep them healthy, having a plan in case something goes wrong with their health or they're injured or they get cancer, and making sure that you'll be able to cover their needs during those really scary times is really important. two, giving back. Like one thing we do with my kids, we'll take our pets around the neighborhood pre-pandemic, now with COVID precautions, right? But interacting with people who might not have pets and need a way to cheer up. So trying to give back to our community in different ways and making it rewarding for our neighbors and our pets as well.
That's amazing. Dr. Casey, can I ask you a little bit more? Because I think this is super, super important. Tell us your thoughts on what our pets have done during the pandemic, when people are isolated, when people are working from home, and your thoughts on what that's done for us as a society, not just in the US, but across the world. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
It has been major. I have heard thousands of tales of the power of the pet during the pandemic and it helping people deal with these unprecedented times of stress, providing companionship. We've done some pets and teleworking campaign photos within CDC, and just the abundance of people outpouring their pets right next to them at work all day, and how they're really helping with that stress and anxiety we're dealing with during the pandemic, and providing that companionship and providing that source of comfort and entertainment and joy. It's just been really amazing and rewarding to hear.
That's awesome. How about you, Matt? Have you heard much from your audience?
Well, we've just seen an increase in photo submissions, and specifically photo submissions where someone's headset is on the dog when they're working from home. So yeah, definitely. And there was also a bunch of TikTok trends that were definitely spawned from people being bored at home with their dogs. So that's the type of we've seen a little bit of a content shift to people being more creative with their time and using their pets as a creative medium, because they can't get away from them. And now those pets are I don't know if it's separation anxiety, but those pets now are doing things that are resulting in very wholesome pictures for us. But obviously, want to make sure that when we go back to work, the pets are still comfortable. But yeah, definitely an increase in photos overall, and then photos that are pretending that the dog is doing their work from home.
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing that people have had companionship when they're at home. Some people are more social creatures than others. I'm a bit of an introvert, an extroverted introvert. So I think my dogs have enjoyed me being home with them. But I'm also hearing plenty of feedback from our veterinary community as well. Hey, we're seeing a lot of cats. And the cats are like, oh, my cat has nipples. Is that normal? Or why is my cat running away from me? Well, because cats, sometimes they like some peace and quiet, and having you in their face at home is interesting for them. So we've done webinars with behaviorists on that as well. It's just interesting how it's all played out, but I think phenomenal that we've had the capability of rolling with the punches here and learning some new things.
Steve, we got a question live from Twitter. Someone would like you to explain exactly how a deductible works, probably specific to Trupanion, but maybe overall as well.
Sure. A deductible is the amount that you pay before insurance kicks in, is the simplest way to answer it. I love it when people say, I don't want a deductible, because Trupanion has an option for no deductible, meaning that every single time you go in for something that was unexpected, that's eligible for coverage, injury, accident, etc., you don't have to wait for us to kick in. We're just going to pay our 90% without limits. The way we work is we have a per condition per life deductible. Again, if you choose to have a deductible at all, that goes out the window if you choose no deductible, but it goes anywhere from $0 to $1,000. If you choose a higher deductible, you've got some more skin in the game. You're going to have to pay the first $1,000 for that arthritis. And knowing arthritis is a chronic condition, once that $1,000 has been met, we're going to pay 90% for the rest of your pet's life, period. It doesn't reset. It's no annual nonsense or anything like that, where it's like, happy birthday, you have to pay all over again. We see that in human medicine. I have that with my child who's 4 and has a congenital heart issue. Every single year, we have to start all over again, like we just discovered this congenital issue. and that kind of sucks. So that's a challenge. So we've created something different, and in my belief, better. If you don't think it's better, then you go for the $0, and you don't have to worry about deductibles at all. But when you choose a high deductible, because you've got more skin in the game, your monthly cost is lower, right? Because you're going to foot the bill for the smaller things at the beginning. And then as it builds up, then we'll kick in. If you have a lower deductible because you have less skin in the game or no skin in the game in the zero situation, then your monthly fee is going to be higher. So there's a scale for how that works. And the reality is, if people think that insurance, that Trupanion specifically, is unaffordable, and they want to decrease that monthly fee, then they can do that by choosing a higher deductible. And at that point, that $1,000 deductible is something you can bank. So you can say, I only need to save for $1,000. And after that, Trupanion is going to kick in. Again, you never know. So if it's doable and you can make it happen, I would suggest a lower deductible or no deductible. And if it's not, and you feel stretched and you think, I really, really want insurance, just remember, it's not a commodity. It's a completely different animal. Our goal is to pay bills. Our goal is to be proactive. Our goal is to pay the bill for you before you leave the hospital and eliminate all of these problems. So anyway, hopefully that gives you an idea of what we're talking about with deductibles.
I think it does, for sure. Any more questions here?
Matt, there's Matt. Talk a little bit more, or maybe give us a little bit of a teaser into your nonprofit ventures.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I think it was the 19th, that we launched the 15 out of 10 Foundation, which if you're familiar with WeRateDogs, 15 out of 10 is the highest rating we've ever given a dog. There's like 20 of them, and they're like hero dogs. They've saved lives. They've done amazing things. And so we named a foundation after these dogs, essentially. And through our experience sharing these GoFundMes and through our partnership with Trupanion, we've learned a lot about the ecosystem, the shelter ecosystem, like everything to do with adoption and whatnot. And the gap that we saw that existed after talking to people at Trupanion and shelters and rescues around LA that we're familiar with was that if a dog is sitting in a shelter with a health issue, they are very unlikely to make it out of that shelter without a random Good Samaritan coming in and paying for it, essentially. These dogs are not super attractive for rescue for various reasons. So the 15 out of 10 Foundation will sponsor dogs whose medical or behavioral needs prevent them from finding their forever home, essentially. So we have 7 dogs right now that we've sponsored. 4 have been adopted and have gone through the entire journey with us, which is very exciting. And we are hoping to we're still local to LA, but we're hoping to expand early next year and try to fill that gap where it exists, which is unfortunately a whole bunch of places. The one thing that makes the foundation, we think, a little bit special is that we are committing to cover that pre-existing condition for the entire dog's life. So if a dog has Addison's disease and they have that monthly bill for medication, and that is a turnoff to a potential adopter who now has to consider that monthly cost in their responsibilities, we're going to cover that for their entire life. So yeah, we think that we're playing an important role, and we're very excited. It's been a good start these last couple weeks, so we're very excited to see what we can do from there. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to mention it. It's very exciting. It's given me a new sense of purpose, and so yeah, very excited. Also, Doug it's kind of inspired by Doug, because I don't know if he would have made it out of the shelter if a rescue hadn't put him on their Instagram. So very special to us.
And we're absolutely thrilled with the concept. Like I say, there's not one size fits all. There's a one size that fits a good amount of people that are trying to solve this problem. But I don't want anyone feeling like they have to do something or they're a bad pet parent or mom and dad. That's not what this is about. Mm-hmm. The point of bringing us all together is to say we all share the same ecosystem. Let's help each other out. What Matt and team has done with WeRateDogs, fantastic. What CDC, One Health, have done, and Dr. Casey is doing is fantastic. I think what we're doing is excellent. It's not the be all end all. Other things that we do in our community. We have a Donico clinic in the Seattle area, and we give our space. We donate our space to them a couple times a month. Where veterinarians and veterinary professionals volunteer our time for the underserved communities. We make sure they have all the prevention and treatments that they need, especially for our families without homes or our families with lower incomes. Look, we're a community. Let's take care of each other. Let's really think about all these things together. This ties right back into Ears to Vets. Let's think about our veterinary community, because we all come from the same place. We love pets. We give our love for pets. Please help us to help each other, and let's get through this together. These are all puzzle pieces. We'd love to hear from you guys. I think we got tons and tons of questions, but we want to respect everyone's time. So what we're going to do is we'll make sure this is posted. It's recorded, posted to Facebook. In spite of our little technical glitches, we got you. This will be taken care of. Everything will be posted. CDC will have it up. WeRateDogs will have it up on all their handles as well. So will we. I'll send you guys to one source of truth. And if we could get this thank you slide up, I'd appreciate it, because it's got our one source of truth. And if we could also post to all the social media channels and the chats, so people could just click on the link, that would be great. But I want to thank both Dr. Casey and Matt, just fantastic human beings. Really appreciate their time, especially knowing what they have going on a day-to-day basis, the responsibilities for basically saving the world. So thank you guys for everything that you do. I thank Doug for his patience. Hopefully he got some yummy treats there.
Well, now he's asleep, so I question the emergency that he had to deal with earlier, but I'll talk to him about it.
Well, it's fantastic. So the link is going to be trupanion.com / maybe you could put it in the back end chat here, so I can just read it off, because I don't see it on the screen yet. But it will be in all the comment sections of all our social media places. You can go straight to the website. There's a Trupanion landing page. There it goes. Trupanion.com /webinars /pet-gift-of-lifetime. So we'll make sure we get that out to everyone, so they can just click on it and don't need to memorize that. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Please reach out if you're in practice, if you're in the veterinary profession and you want to learn out more. Reach out to your local territory partners. You can find them by going to this page if you don't already know them. For any of us, hey, send something to Matt at WeRateDogs and the team. Links will be on this landing page to CDC, One Health, etc., and to what Matt is doing. So if anyone wants to find out more, just go to that as your source. Click on those things, and we'll all circle up again. Thank you, everyone. Really, really appreciate your time and your listening and joining us today with great questions.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.